Welcome to EngloStories. Today, we have a magical tale that has enchanted listeners for centuries. Sleeping Beauty is a classic fairy tale that was written by Charles Perrault, a French author who published it in 1697. However, the story's origins go back much further in European folklore. This enchanting tale tells the story of a beautiful princess who falls into a deep sleep because of an evil fairy's curse. Only true love's kiss can break the spell and wake her up. The story has been adapted many times throughout history, including the famous Disney movie that many of you might know. But today, we will explore the traditional version of this beloved tale. Get ready for a journey into a world of royalty, magic, fairies, curses, and the power of love. Let's begin our adventure into the magical world of Sleeping Beauty. Now let's begin the story. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a king and queen who ruled with kindness and wisdom. Their castle stood tall on a hill, surrounded by lush forests and clear blue lakes. The kingdom was peaceful and prosperous, and the people lived happily. However, despite all their wealth and power, the royal couple was sad because they had no children. Every day the queen would look out from her window at the children playing in the palace gardens and sigh with longing. Years passed, and finally their greatest wish came true. The queen gave birth to a beautiful baby girl with rosy cheeks and bright eyes. They named her Aurora, which means dawn, because she brought new light and hope into their lives. The king was so overjoyed that he ordered a grand celebration. He invited nobles, commoners, and even the fairies who lived in the kingdom to attend a feast in honor of Princess Aurora. The palace was decorated with colorful flowers and glittering ornaments. Musicians played sweet melodies, and cooks prepared the most delicious foods. Everyone in the kingdom was excited to see the new princess. The royal family's happiness seemed complete, and the future looked bright for the little princess who slept peacefully in her golden cradle, unaware of the amazing celebration being prepared in her honor or the unexpected events that would soon change her fate. On the day of the celebration, 7 good fairies came to the palace to bestow magical gifts upon the baby princess. Each fairy carried a wand made of gold and silver, and they approached the cradle one by one. The king and queen watched with excitement as the ceremony began. The first fairy waved her wand over the baby and said, "Little princess, I give you the gift of beauty. You will grow to be the most beautiful woman in all the land." The second fairy stepped forward. "My gift is the voice of a nightingale. You will sing more sweetly than any bird." The third fairy smiled at the baby. "I give you the gift of grace. You will move with elegance and charm." The fourth fairy touched her wand to the baby's forehead. "My gift is intelligence. You will be wise and clever." The fifth fairy said, "I give you the gift of kindness. Your heart will be full of love for all creatures." The sixth fairy was about to offer her gift when suddenly the palace doors burst open with a loud bang. A cold wind blew through the hall, extinguishing many of the candles. In walked an old fairy named Maleficent, her face twisted with anger. She had not been invited to the celebration because everyone thought she had died years ago, and the king had only prepared 7 golden plates for the fairies, not 8. "Well, what a lovely party," Maleficent said in a voice that sent chills down everyone's spine. "It seems my invitation was lost, but no matter. I am here now, and I, too, have a gift for the little princess." The king and queen trembled with fear as Maleficent approached the cradle. She raised her long bony finger and declared, on her 16th birthday, the princess will prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and die. Then she laughed cruelly and disappeared in a flash of green fire. The queen fainted, and the king ordered his guards to search for Maleficent, but she was nowhere to be found. The guests were terrified, and the celebration turned into mourning. However, the sixth fairy stepped forward and said, "I cannot completely undo the evil fairy's curse, but I can change it. Princess Aurora will not die when she pricks her finger. Instead, she will fall into a deep sleep for 100 years, and she will be awakened by a prince's kiss." The seventh fairy, who had not yet given her gift, added, "And I promise that while she sleeps, she will not age or suffer. She will remain as beautiful and young as on the day she fell asleep." Despite these reassurances, the king was still worried. He ordered that all spinning wheels in the kingdom be burned, hoping to protect his daughter from the terrible curse. Years passed, and Princess Aurora grew into a kind, beautiful, and talented young woman, just as the good fairies had promised. She had golden hair that shone like the sun and blue eyes as clear as the sky. She was loved by everyone who met her. The king and queen had kept the curse a secret from her, not wanting to frighten their beloved daughter. On the morning of her 16th birthday, Aurora was exploring the castle while her parents were busy preparing for her birthday celebration. She discovered a narrow staircase that she had never seen before. Curious, she climbed the stairs and found a small room at the top of a tower. Inside the room was an old woman sitting by a strange object that Aurora had never seen before. "What is that?" asked Aurora, pointing to the spinning wheel. Having grown up in a kingdom where all spinning wheels had been destroyed, she had never seen one. "It is a spinning wheel, my dear," replied the old woman, who was actually Maleficent in disguise. "Would you like to try it?" Aurora, not knowing the danger, reached out her hand to touch the spindle. The moment her finger touched the sharp point, she felt a prick. A drop of blood appeared on her fingertip. Suddenly, she felt very dizzy. Her eyes grew heavy, and she fell to the floor in a deep sleep. The evil fairy Maleficent watched with satisfaction as the curse took effect. She had finally gotten her revenge for not being invited to the celebration years ago. The old woman disappeared, revealing her true form as the wicked fairy before vanishing from the castle. When Aurora did not come down for her birthday feast, the king ordered a search. They found her lying on the floor of the tower room, looking as if she were dead. The king and queen were devastated. They carried her to the most beautiful room in the palace and laid her on a bed covered with roses. Though she appeared lifeless, she was only sleeping, her chest rising and falling gently with each breath. The good fairy, who had modified the curse, knew that Aurora would be sad to wake up in 100 years to find all her loved ones dead. So, with her powerful magic, she put everyone in the castle to sleep. The king and queen, the servants, the cooks, the horses in the stables, and even the dogs in the courtyard. Everyone fell into a deep slumber, frozen in time until the princess would awaken. Then, to protect the sleeping castle from intruders, the fairy caused a forest of thorns to grow around the entire palace. The thorns grew so thick and sharp that not even a bird could fly through them. Over time, stories about the sleeping princess spread throughout neighboring kingdoms. The castle became known as the castle of the Sleeping Beauty. Many brave princes from different lands tried to reach the castle after hearing about the beautiful sleeping princess. However, the thorns were too thick and sharp. Those who tried to force their way through were caught in the thorns and died a painful death. As the years passed, people began to forget about the sleeping princess. The story became a legend that parents told their children. 100 years went by. The castle remained hidden behind the wall of thorns, and inside, time stood still. Princess Aurora and all the castle inhabitants continued to sleep peacefully, waiting for the day when the curse would finally be broken. One day, a young prince from a faraway kingdom heard the story of the Sleeping Beauty. Unlike others, he was not only interested in her beauty, but was moved by her sad fate. He decided to find the castle and see if the legend was true. When he reached the wall of thorns, something magical happened. The thorns began to part, creating a path for him. It was as if they knew he was the one destined to break the curse. The prince walked through the opening and found the castle. Inside, he saw people sleeping everywhere, guards at their posts, servants in the kitchen, and the king and queen on their thrones. He explored the castle until he found Aurora sleeping in her rose-covered bed. Struck by her beauty, he knelt beside her and gently kissed her. At that moment, Aurora's eyes fluttered open. As she awoke, so did everyone else in the castle. The 100 years' sleep was finally over. The story of Sleeping Beauty teaches us several important lessons. First, it shows us the power of patience and destiny. The prince had to come at exactly the right time, after 100 years, to break the curse. Second, it reminds us that true love can overcome even the most powerful evil magic. The kiss that woke Aurora was not just any kiss, but one given with pure intentions and true feelings. Finally, the story shows that good ultimately triumphs over evil. Despite Maleficent's efforts to harm the princess, her plan was defeated in the end. These timeless lessons make Sleeping Beauty a story that continues to touch hearts across generations. Thank you for listening to the story of Sleeping Beauty. If you enjoyed this tale, please hit the like button and share it with your friends who are also learning English. What did you think about the story? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to follow EngloStories as we upload a story daily so that you can look forward to our next video. Your support helps us continue bringing these classic tales to English learners around the world.